Today's lesson is Ariana Grande, From Tragedies to Triumphs. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
I am Roger.
And today we're going to be reading the first of 2 days of articles about the pop songstress Ariana Grande. If you've been paying attention to pop music any time in the last, I'd say more than 5 years, 5 to 10 years probably, Ariana Grande is a name you will have definitely heard along with, other stars like Billie Eilish, Lana Del Rey, and of course the unconquerable Taylor Swift. Ariana Grande is one of the new crop of female pop stars who is basically ruling the music charts. And she has a very interesting life, as many people do.
That's right. So, of course, it hasn't been really smooth for her, but she has been successful. And a lot of terrible things have happened to her and her friends on her journey to become famous. So we're going to find out all about these things. We've got tragedies and triumphs in her life. Let's get to it. Let's listen to the first part right now.
Ariana Grande, From Tragedies to Triumphs. Grief and tragedy affect most people's lives. However, few have experienced these hardships as publicly as the pop star and actress Ariana Grande. Besides making the news for breaking music records, she has also found herself in the spotlight due to a number of unfortunate circumstances. However, instead of withdrawing, she has allowed these experiences to shape her and her music in ways that continue to define her career.
大家好，标题中介绍名词 triumph， 它的意思是胜利或是杰出的成就。例如 The hit movie is the latest triumph for the young actor. 该热门电影是这位年轻演员的最新成就。再来看到名词 grief， 表示悲痛或是悲伤。例如 After her partner died, Emily almost went crazy from grief. Emily 在伴侣过世后悲痛欲绝。或是 The grief he felt for the loss of his dog was hard to bear. 他失去狗而感到的悲痛是难以忍受的。继续看到名词 hardship， 它的意思是艰难、艰苦或是困难。例如 Since the war, there has been great hardship in this country. 自从战争以来，这个国家处境非常艰困。也可以说 Matt suffered many hardships after losing his job. Matt 失业后吃了很多苦。再来介绍片语 Find oneself in the spotlight， 表示发现自己成为众所瞩目的焦点。我们可以说 When the actor found himself in the spotlight, he used the opportunity to promote his charity work. 当该演员发现自己成为众所瞩目的焦点时，他利用这个机会推广他的慈善工作。又或者说 Jenny found herself in the spotlight at the conference and realized the importance of her research. Jenny 在会议上发现自己成为了众所瞩目的焦点，并意识到了她研究的重要性。接着看到名词 circumstance， 它的意思是情况或是形式。例如 The circumstances that led to the incident are still unclear and require further investigation. 导致该意外的情况尚不清楚，还需要进一步的调查。又或者说 I will not let Jane use my computer under any circumstances. 在任何情况下，我都不会让 Jane 使用我的电脑。
Okay, the title is Ariana Grande, From Tragedies to Triumphs. And if we talk about a range of things, we use this pattern from something to something. And a tragedy, of course, is something terrible that happens to someone. And a triumph, of course, is a success. So she's had some bad things in her life, and she's had some good things in her life.
Exactly right, like most people. So yes, if you have a triumph, it's a great success. You could also triumph. We can use this as a verb to win. If you beat your opponent in anything, including just a friendly game of ping pong, you could say, I triumphed over my Uncle Bill at ping pong last night. So let's find out about her tragedies, her terrible events, the bad things that have happened, and the triumphs, the good things that have happened in her life. We begin the article by reading grief and tragedy affect most people's lives. Wow, that's a pretty heavy sentence, I'd say, to start an article about a pop star, but it is true. Yes, grief and tragedy affect most people's lives. These are some of the sad bad and terrible things that happen to us. Of course, a tragedy is kind of like a disaster, some terrible event, some terrible occurrence. And grief is basically great sadness. When you have great sadness over the loss of a loved one, over the loss of a dream that doesn't come true, your pet could die. These types of things can cause grief. Not only will you be crying for a few days or something, but this is a kind of sadness, the kind of loss, the kind of disappointment in your life that will probably follow you for a long time and could even color your personality. So grief and tragedy affect most people's lives, along with good things, of course. Life is not all grief and tragedy, but of course these do affect us. However, few have experienced these hardships as publicly as the pop star and actress Ariana Grande. And I think, Roger, it would be safe to say that grief and tragedy are two of the hardships of life.
They certainly are. So yes, most people are affected by these things at one time or another. So a hardship, of course, is something terrible that happens in your life, which would include grief and tragedy and depression and things like that.
Or just being unemployed, having no money, being hungry.
All those things can be really terrible. Hardships, of course, you can have them in life if you're stuck in the Arctic or something and no one can come to rescue you. That's a hardship. And in this particular case, she has experienced a lot of those things. So let's talk about what has happened to her. Besides making the news for breaking music records, she has also found herself in the spotlight due to a number of unfortunate circumstances. So we've got this pattern here. Besides something, then something else has happened in addition to that. So in addition to making the news because she broke lots of musical records, she has also been in the spotlight due to various unfortunate things or unfortunate circumstances. So here it says she's broken music records. That does not mean she's gone out and taken LPs and smashed them on the ground or something like that.
Goodness, no.
In this particular case, she's broke records. She's sold more records in a certain category. She's had more people attend her concert. She's had the best song of the year, things like that. Those are breaking music records.
Right, making history in many different ways. But she has also found herself in the spotlight. When you're in the spotlight, or if you find yourself in the spotlight, you are subject to a lot of media and public attention. So if you become a celebrity and everyone is following you around and taking pictures and wants to know exactly what you're doing and who you're dating and where you're living and what you're eating for dinner, you are definitely in the spotlight. So this can be an uncomfortable experience, I think, for a lot of people. You have to get used to it. Some people can, as we say, handle fame. Others can't. So this is something she has had to do from a very young age. And in some ways, maybe sometimes her fault, oftentimes not. It's due to a number of unfortunate circumstances that she's been in the spotlight. In other words, she's had a lot of attention in the media and the public, not always for the best of reasons, and as we said, not always anything to do with really what she did, just circumstances or situations going on around her. What are circumstances? These are just things that happen. Situations, developments over time. Decisions can cause circumstances. A circumstance is a result of a decision, you could also say. If you're making a big decision and it could affect you and lots of other people around you might wisely tell you to stop and think about the circumstances, think about the consequences of things that might happen, think about all the different factors that might come in to affect your decision and how it will change your life or influence your life moving forward. However, it says, instead of withdrawing, she has allowed these experiences to shape her and her music in ways that continue to define her career. I think if a lot of us found ourselves in the spotlight, we might choose to withdraw.
Exactly, to just remove yourself from a situation. Of course, if you need money to buy something, you may withdraw money from the bank. And instead of withdrawing, instead of just hiding away someplace and crying and talking to her mother or something like that, she has allowed these experiences to shape her. She has grown from these experiences, and her music has been shaped as well because of these circumstances. And yes, she's been shaped in ways that continue to define her career. So she's moving on and she's adapting and changing along with these circumstances, as should we all. Okay, that brings us to the end of the first part of our lesson for today. Let's listen now to the second part.
Grande was born in Florida in 1993. She began to show musical talent at the age of 3, and she subsequently shined as both an actress and singer in school plays. At the age of 15, she got her first major role in a Broadway musical, And in 2010, she was cast as Cat Valentine in Nickelodeon's popular teen show, Victorious. This role would make her a household name and help launch her pop music career.
第二部分介绍副词 subsequently， 指的是随后的或是接着的。举例来说 Amelia quit her job and subsequently went back to college. Amelia 辞掉工作，随后回到了大学。又或者说 Molly finished her homework and subsequently went for a walk. Molly 做完作业，接着去散步。接下来看到形容词 household， 表示家喻户晓的，也可以是家用的意思。例如George was a household name before he had even turned 18. George 在18岁还不到，就是一名家喻户晓的人物了。也可以说 Beyonce has become a household name. 碧昂斯已变得家喻户晓。
And here we are back with the second part of our article about Ariana Grande. Let's get back into it and really go back in time and find out where it all started for her. Grande was born in Florida in 1993. So there you go. You can figure out her age. She began to show musical talent at the age of 3, and she subsequently shined as both an actress and singer in school plays. Absolutely amazing. She began to show musical talent. Her gift for music started to come through at the age of 3. I can imagine a young girl running around the house and singing along with the radio and stuff like that, singing the pop songs of 1996 as a very young 3-year-old, and really showing a high level of talent and also a big passion for music, especially for someone so young. And so, of course, this led to other things. She subsequently shined as both an actress and singer in school plays. When we use subsequently, this adverb shows that what happened first then led to something. This happened afterwards, kind of as a natural evolution, as a natural progress. From showing talent and interest in music at 3, it's kind of natural that she shined as both an actress and singer. She was very good in school plays, singing and acting, and probably doing a little bit of dancing once she got the opportunity to do that. And then eventually, by junior high school, she was a professional.
Yes, at the age of 15, she got her first major role in a Broadway musical. And in 2010, she was cast as Cat Valentine in Nickelodeon's popular teen show, Victorious. So these are some accomplishments that she's had along the way. She was very young in junior high school, as you said, at the age of 15. She got a major role in a Broadway musical, and that's a big step there. If you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere, as they say. And of course, if you've ever traveled to New York, you probably would like to take in a Broadway show or a Broadway musical like The Lion King or Wicked or whatever. We'll talk about that in just a couple of seconds. But yes, she got a major role, and then she was in a TV show on Nickelodeon, which is a channel in the U.S. that shows primarily programs for young people.
That's right, children's TV, and they do a lot of young drama, like with young actors, as well as showing cartoons, obviously. Many stars that we might know today often started off on Nickelodeon or Disney as well in these shows, and so she was cast as Cat Valentine on this popular teen show, Victorious. So this probably was around the age of 17. The show is geared towards a teen audience, so that's why we describe it as a teen show, the title of which was Victorious. This role would make her a household name and help launch her pop music career. So this role, this part on Victorious as Cat Valentine made her very well known, very famous, made her a household name. When we talk about a household, it's really just the home and the people who live there, right? So you could say there are 4 people in my household plus a cat or something like that. But we can also use it as an adjective to talk about something that is commonly known. If everyone in your household, from the youngest kids to your parents to your grandparents, if they happen to be part of that household, but if everyone in the household knows about something, we can kind of assume it's fairly well known. It's fairly popular. It's not just popular with a certain group or a certain age group or something. something. So it's a household name. I could say Tom Hanks and Meryl Streep are two household name Hollywood actors. Everybody knows them, even if you don't watch a lot of movies. So this turned her into a very famous person, I guess especially with the teens who are watching Nickelodeon, and it helped launch her pop music career.
Launch here refers to starting something, to begin a journey, to begin some kind of project. You can launch a political campaign, you can launch an advertising campaign, you just get it started. And in this particular case, that was where her pop music career began because she was popular, so the next logical step was for her to start singing and dancing and selling out concerts worldwide. Okay, we're at the end of the second part of our lesson for today. We're going to cover now the third part. We will listen first.
After leaving the show, Grande set out to make it as a musician, releasing her first album, Yours Truly, in 2013 to some success. But it wasn't until the release of her single Problem that the young singer's career really took off.
第三部分看到片语 set out 或是 set off 加 to 动词，表示开始做点点点或是着手进行。我们可以说 The organization set out to raise awareness about climate change through various campaigns. 该组织开始进行多个活动，以提高人们对气候变迁的认识。
So we're back with the final part of today's look at Ariana Grande. Remember, we'll have another day tomorrow. But let's finish off our article here. It says, after leaving the show, so this would be the show, the TV show on Nickelodeon, Victorious, that she was a cast member of. So after leaving the show, Grande set out to make it as a musician, releasing her first album, Yours Truly, in 2013 to some success. So there you go. So she tried to make it as a musician. She tried to change from being an actress to a musician. She set out to, when you set out to do something, you start to do something, you begin to do something. And this is probably a plan or a challenge that you're going to take on. Your goal won't be easy to reach. It won't be an easy success for you if you set out to do something. Probably a lot of challenges and time and energy and effort will be required to reach your goal. But you have to begin somewhere. So she set out to make it as a musician, releasing her first album, Yours Truly, in 2013 to some success. All right, so that's the title of the first album. We can see it wasn't a smash hit because when we use this phrase to some success shows, yes, it was popular, but maybe she didn't have a number one song or anything like that. It wasn't a huge success, but it was fairly successful.
Yep, so this happened over 10 years ago, so of course she's been around since that time, and that's when her first album came out. Of course, that's a collection of songs together in one place. You can probably download it pretty easily online if you're interested. But again, this was her first album, and the title was Yours Truly, which is often how we finish letters when we write to people. Yours truly, Roger. Nice talking to you. I can't wait for your next letter. But in this particular case, the album was kind of successful, and then later on she became more successful. People probably came back and thought, let's buy the first album too. So I'm sure it has sold a lot by now. But it wasn't until the release of her single Problem that the young singer's career really took off. So yes, she had some success with her first album, but she had to wait until her next single became very popular, and it wasn't until the release of that song that her career took off. So this is a pattern we often use. It wasn't until something happened that something happened as a result. So it wasn't until she released her single Problem that she became successful. Now here the single is called Problem. That's just a single song, and it's a hit song, and you can probably hear it on the radio or on the internet someplace, and I'm sure it's a very catchy tune.
Absolutely. She's got a lot of fans, and they go back with her a long, long way. I think a lot of the people who are still her fans today and buy her records and attend her concerts were probably young girls the same age or even younger than she was when she was appearing on Nickelodeon, and I'm sure many of them did buy that first album, but she really crossed over to be a major world-class pop star with some of her later releases. So we're going to be finding out a lot more about that and Ariana Grande's personal life and some of the unfortunate things that have happened to her in her life and career, many of them completely out of her control, when we rejoin tomorrow to learn more about Ariana Grande and some of the amazing challenges she has faced. We're also going to learn about some of the things that she's doing now, and we'll even tell you about an opportunity for you to see her live on stage should you choose to do so. Let's check it out tomorrow, and we'll see you back here then.
Okay, it's time now to listen to Hanny, our beloved Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分有一句提到 Ariana Grande 除了因打破音乐界纪录而成为新闻焦点外，她也因为一些不幸的情况而成了众人瞩目的焦点。那么文中它是用 a number of unfortunate circumstances 来表达一些不幸的情况。那这边我们来介绍一下 a number of 它表示几个若干，意思就会跟 several 或者是 some 相近，可以用来修饰可数名词的量，像是 a number of factors 几项因素， a number of questions 几个问题等等。好，那如果我们要修饰不可数名词的量，像是时间啊、金钱、水等等，通常会用到 an amount of。 amount 跟 number 的前方呢，我们都可以加入形容词，像 high、large、great 等等，去表达大量的什么，或者是可以加入 small 去表达少数的少量的什么。我们举几个例子，像 a large number of tourists 是大量的观光客，A small number of students 少数的学生， A large amount of money 大量的金钱， A small amount of information 少量的资讯。好，那接着读到课文第三部分的最后一句，它有提到 It wasn't until the release of her single Problem that the young singer's career really took off。 这句是用到分列句来强调Not until the release of her single Problem 去表达说直到发行单曲爱情麻烦后，这位年轻歌手的事业才真正的起飞。那我们先简单复习一下这个分列句和 not until 点点点的用法。好，第一个我们复习的是分列句句型 It is 点点点 that 点点点，或者是 It was 点点点 that 点点点。那这样的句型可以用来强调句中的某部分。这个用法就是把原本你句子当中要强调的部分摆在 it is 和 that 之间，或者是 it was 和 that 之间，然后我们把原句剩下的字词就摆到 that 之后，所以句型就会是 it is 或是 it was 加上强调的部分，加上 that 再加你原本句子的其他部分。那第二个复习的点是 not until 点点点，它是表达说直到什么什么才怎么样。那 not until 后面可以接表示时间点的名词或子句。那现在我们就来结合一下分列句跟这个 not until 点点点这两部分。也就是说，我们用 not until 加名词或子句，用来当做你分列句要强调的部分，这个句型就会变成 it is 或者是 it was 加上 not until 名词或子句，加上 that 再加句子的其他部分。这样的句型是强调说直到某个时间点才怎么样。举例来说 She didn't learn the truth until yesterday。 我们把这个句子里面当中的 not until yesterday 拿来当做分列句要强调部分，会变成 It was 加上 not until yesterday 再加 that再加句子的其他部分 She did learn the truth。 这时候助动词 did 已经没有存在的必要了，所以我们要把 did 删掉，然后把这个 learn 改回过去式，句子会写作It wasn't until yesterday that she learned the truth。 直到昨天她才得知真相。好，那么以上今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Triumph. As the game was about to end, the team's hard work resulted in a well-deserved triumph. Grief. In her grief over her grandmother's death, Sharon found comfort in memories of their times together. Hardship. Lionel has experienced a lot of hardships recently, but he has still maintained a cheerful attitude. Circumstance. Despite the challenging circumstances, they remained hopeful about finding a solution. Withdraw. Feeling stressed by his responsibilities, Thomas withdrew from social events to focus on his work. Household. Many fans expect the actor's new film to make him a household name. Launch. The scholarship program aims to launch gifted students into successful careers.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger. See you next time.